JB here. JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Monday, October 6th, 3/29 on this fine afternoon talk. Really quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. Sorry about that. S&P in the green. It looks like we're going to make it six straight sessions to the upside. For some reason this morning, I had thought that the winning streak had ended on Friday, but I was looking at the SPY, not the S&P. The S&P actually squeezed out a gain on Friday. So it looks like we're going to have seven straight sessions to the upside. Biggest uh, rally in since May, or at least session rally, not in regards to percentage wise. But yeah, nothing interesting here today. The markets held the gap, traded down to lows at 10 o'clock, and then just all the way up into the 671 area and just been chopping around ever since. So nothing crazy here. Yields are higher, the dollar's higher, gold is higher. Um, and then outside of that, today OpenAI is having their developers conference. Some news, I guess, in the afternoon on some of the names that might have impacts there. But yeah, that's it. And then the headlines in regards to the government shutdown. So I think outside of that, I mean, what's really going to derail the market? I don't know if I talked about this morning. The whole who remembers the yen carry trade, right? So that was last summer, caused the big sell off. People worried that folks were liquidating U.S. Treasuries to for trades that were financed. The fact that the yields in Japan have been flat for so long. Once that started to change, people had to unwind those trades and it became this whole, fear, uncertainty, and doubt situation. People thought that that was the next big catalyst for market downturn. We had a big sell off, and then that kind of disappeared, right? And then the markets bounced back, everything went back to normal, and then you had those rumblings of it again back during Liberation Day and the tariffs that, oh my gosh, gonna have another concerns around the yen carry trade 2.0. You had a hawk, right? The prime minister in Japan was pretty hawkish in regards to their finances. They don't want to spend a lot of money on defense. Wanted rein in rates, things like that. So because of that, not people thought there was going to be more years of no growth for Japan, and then obviously they're just anyway. So more of the story is this weekend you have a more liberal prime minister. She got, I don't know if it was somewhat a surprise, but I guess it was. And she, probably more apt to spend money on defense and things like that. So it kind of threw people off guard. And take a look at the Nikkei overnight was up 4%. I So outside of those headlines, I mean, what else is going to move the market here? I mean, government shutdown, even if that gets resolved, I mean, is it going to be selling? My fear would be that it'll be some kind of sell the news event, right? So probably the government shutdown is probably going to take another week or so, and once that gets ironed out, maybe we'll be talking about some other stuff, right? The Fed meeting, things like that, and hopefully we finally get some data. But that's kind of the overall markets. 941, but sold at 950. Is that nine? I don't know. Let me take a look. Anyway, all right. So that's overall markets. Every rant I've been doing for the last week or so, I keep talking about this great circle jerk. I don't. At some point, I'll have to write a piece about it because this AI situation, whether it's 6 months from now, a month from now, a week from now, 2 years from now, at some point there's going to be a massive pullback, and whether that's 100% from here, who knows, right? But to me, it's like the more I look at, the more I got to like dig in and find out the details to see that maybe there's some signs to look at. But yeah, I'm trying to think of some analogies for what's going on. So this morning with the AMD news, and then Kramer saying, "Wow, this AMD news means there's a bigger addressable market than everybody's been expecting." And it's like, well, who knows what that addressable market is? You think the folks at OpenAI know it? The folks at AMD? All right, so that's overall market. So quick on just some individual names. SERV, finally, I don't want to say finally. I mean, it's been up and down uh, on pullbacks. I was able to get some calls a couple times. So some has already made some nice profits this year, and then boom, get another rally here this morning on news that, well, not from this morning, on news that they are up to 1,000 units of their robot rollout. They're up to 1,000 units, right, of their goal of 2,000 by the end of the year. So they have 3 months to do it, and it sounds like it's on track. Like all good news. Considering I think some folks the worry about SERV is that is a viable business model? Are they going to be able to scale out? Somewhat pre-revenue. I mean, the company does minuscule revenues in regards to what you would it's almost like a pre-revenue company, so it leaves a lot of opportunity for folks on both sides of the boat, the bears and the bulls, to create a story of, hey, this company is not going to be viable, or hey, this is going to be, I wouldn't call it Uber or Lyft, 2.0, but it's going to be one of those companies that I think could be a massive market. So um, finally, I was looking this morning. I'm like, do I lock the rest of the Octobers in? So considering we're getting closer to October expiration, I locked the last of the October 14s in. I took some more of the Januaries off, and then I started to roll some into November, and then added some higher strikes in January. To me, I look, and back in February, I think it was February 13th, the Nvidia had a stake in SERV. So if you didn't know that, I don't know how big it was, 13% or whatever, but it was one of those passive stakes. It was like they got it by accident because of some investments and deals they have done, and then uh, they had stakes in company X, and X had a stake in SERV. So when they acquired company X, they got a stake in SERV almost by accident, right? So then, as part of their housekeeping, whatever, they sold stake, and they sold their stakes in a couple of these companies that they had like a niche, just a small holding in. And then OX is another one of those names. But anyway, more of the story, it dropped from $22 all the way down to 13 in six trading sessions. So pretty much cut in half. So to me, it just shows how shorted number one, the name is, and two, how like folks think it's going to zero, right? I think they continue to, but anyway, to me, that creates opportunity. I've been saying this for a while. So when I start looking at the strikes, I'm like, this could trade up near $22 by November, or in the next couple of weeks. Could be this week. So I'll continue to look for more opportunities, but for now, locked in lots of profits. Use those profits to roll higher strikes. I'll continue to do that as the sessions go on. 13.75 was a big spot. I think $18 comes quick. So I don't know if that's this week. Hopefully, maybe. All right, so that's SERV. And goes without saying, here's JOBY. JOBY, another one of those names. I mean, it was $8 when I started trading this thing. Traded massive profits back in the summer when it went all the way to the 20s, and then it kind of pulled back, right? And I just locked most of my positions in. I've been riding these October 20s, just a couple of them, and I've been patient, because if I had tried to time some of these bounces in JOBY, I probably would have given a lot of the profits back. So I was looking at more strikes this morning to play for a move into the 20s. I'll probably continue to be patient here. Just have a few of the October 20s left. Those are back up to being over 100%. So I'll just continue to hold those. And open spike in here, 969. But just another one of those names, similar to SERV. It's like somewhat pre-revenue, so it leaves opportunity for both sides of the argument, right? And I think we're getting closer to the bull side coming to fruition. So that's JOBY. Reddit this morning finally pulled the trigger on some lotto calls. I think it was sitting at 204, 205 for most of, like, from 10:30 to 11:30, and then it started to look like, hey, maybe it's gonna break out from that base. I went and got those 240 lottos. I was actually looking for next week, but I'm like, I'll be patient. And then sure enough, it goes from 205 all the way up to 210 in a matter of about an hour. And the premiums didn't go up as much as I thought they would. So I took some of them off for close to 100% to cover costs. I'll just hold the rest. Of course, doing the boomerang here, it's back down to 205, just went into the red. Won't take much for this to go. And I was posted this morning. Still has an implied move of like 7% on the weekly strikes. No catalyst, right? There's no earnings. There's no crazy catalyst that is going to happen this week outside of just it's such a volatile name that unfortunately makes the premiums expensive. But if you get the right direction, and hopefully we continue to head upward tomorrow, or at least 200's the bottom, and hit 198 this morning. So that's Reddit. Duolingo, the premium's actually looking pretty solid here. It was down to 316 at 9:30, or right after the open, bounced around, and then found some footing in the afternoon, all the way up to near 330. It's been chopping around. I think it's good to go. 330 is the big spot here, so maybe tomorrow's the day. But in lieu of trying to add this week's strikes, I got the 400s for next week, and those are solidly in the green, so I'll continue to hold those. Cardlytics is at highs right here. I talked about it on the watch list this morning and on the rant. But bull flag number one, right? That epic fail. We'll see if bull flag number two plays out. If that's the case, off to Sam's Club members can now get free same delivery on GLP-1. All right, nice news there. All right, so that's Cardlytics. Other names I'm looking at, XYZ. I almost pulled the trigger on. I think it was 83 strikes for this week, and sure enough, it pulled back here down to 78. I still like this one to break out. Tight bones are being set up. You think with Bitcoin trading at all-time highs, or over that 124 spot, I figure it'd be trading substantially higher. Not the case, so I'll continue to look for opportunities there. I think that's it. I'm trying to think, take a look at Adobe, DocuSign. I don't know if it has something to do with this OpenAI developers conference, but Adobe soared all the way up to well, I shouldn't say soared, it was up like 2%, but considering what Adobe's done over the last couple of weeks, it's a large move. At some point, I'll look for some possible put hedges if the market finds some weakness, but still have the range is I think 672, 79, did I say this morning? And 660 on the SPY. So I think we chop around there this week, pending Anything crazy? We have the Fed minutes Wednesday. Is that going to move the markets? I mean, we have the dissenter. I mean, first first dissenter, and well, on the he wants to do the half rate cut. Stephen Milan, I forget what his name is. Uh, I don't know if that's going to add any color in the minutes. I don't think so. And that's it, folks. Have a great afternoon. I'll be back rock and roll.